few years ago, I made a video called British Winters Ain't Got Nothing on America. And it was true then, and it's true now. But one of the criticisms that I received at the time was, "Ooh, Lawrence, you're doing this from your apartment. We want to see you out in the bloody snow." Right? And it's enough to make my voice crack just thinking about it. And now, at the start of 2021, knowing that I've been trapped inside the house for 4 years, I thought I'd get out. And I'm not sure if you've been watching the weather reports or not, but now would be the perfect time to do that, because not only did London just experience plentiful snow, resulting in riotous celebration, but Chicago is currently getting dumped on as we speak. And since people in my homeland have recently had that experience of being able to build snowmen and throw snowballs at their spouses and their kids, I wanted to show you why what you enjoyed so fervently a few days ago gets old very, very quickly when you marry a woman from the Midwest and then move there. And don't get me wrong, I mean, when I was a kid, I loved it when the snow would turn up because it was quite a rare event. I've spoken extensively on this channel, about how we just don't have white Christmases in Britain. And here, you might have them every other year or something like that, depending on where you live. And I think it's fair to say that after a while, the excitement is not quite as palpable and you become somewhat numb to the annual onslaught of snow, unless you're my wife from the Midwest. In other words, I mean, it was her idea to leave the house and make this video for you. And since I'm being coerced into making this video, I thought, well, how do you make a video like this? Do I just lay down on the ground and make snow angels? No, because for contractual reasons, I can't get wet in my videos again. And then I drew inspiration from all of those YouTubers that are based in Norway. You've probably seen them, right? They're usually blonde and they go out into the snow, often with a dog, and they look like they're having the time of their lives. And their videos are always really lovely and serene, and they make you believe that they are elves living in a cottage with a fireplace. And so that's the style I choose to go with in this video. Now, admittedly, I don't have a Norwegian accent, nor the desire to walk on a frozen lake in my underpants, but what I do have is a car. And since there are kind of COVID restrictions happening, we could barely leave the state. Otherwise, we would have gone up all the way to Minnesota because, Minnesotans often tell me, "Oh, you people in Chicago don't know what a real winter is," right? And I'd ask you Minnesotans, how can you stand it? How can you stand this incessant snow during winter? And then they turn around to me and say, well, half of us are all descended from Norwegians, so you get the picture. There is something quite comforting and at the same time genuinely awful about driving in the snow in the Midwest. The good thing is you have a nicely heated car, and all of the bad stuff, the snow, the ice, the cold, that's happening to other people on the outside, and you can just watch and laugh, or just watch. And, I don't want to be cynical. I know there are a lot of people out there like my wife who like snow, and that's fine. I'm not judging you. But I do have to get your thoughts on dirty snow, when it's piled up at the side of the road and it's just this really big high mound, but it's, partially covered in mud. And you've got to admit, it's a terrible mess, really horrible to look at, although it is competing with strip malls. In Britain, you don't really get a chance to see mounds of snow grow quite this high or this muddy, partially because we don't usually get this much snow, but also we don't clean off the roads for about a week. I'm kidding. That's probably an exaggeration, but from memory, we weren't too good about it. Here in Chicago, they're on it like that. And for those of you who couldn't see me, which is all of you, that was me clicking my finger. But when I'm on the road at this time of year in the Midwest, all I do is think. I look out of the window and I contemplate some of the most important questions in the universe. Are we alone? Will we ever be visited? And why don't I have thermal gloves? America is a big land, and therefore the Midwest is just a fraction of that land, although sizable enough to be its own country. And yet the vast majority of my experience of living in the United States has been housed in the Midwest. And, as somebody who's lived in multiple places, I often turn to people here and say, could you ever imagine yourself living anywhere other than the Midwest? And the kind of response, hell would have to freeze over for me to do that. And that's just the residents of Hell, Michigan. bears repeating, of course, that the closer to the Great Lakes you get, the colder it gets, and substantially so when compared to Britain. So you have to make sure that you come prepared, and that's why I'll be having a stern conversation with my costume department after the release of this video. And of course, I've talked endlessly about coats that have these sort of thick hoods that make you look like Han Solo on Hoth, which is sort of perfect for me because I'm often told that I do resemble a young Harrison Ford. I think I dreamt that was a dream. But one thing that I haven't mentioned very much, and I feel obliged to do so right now, is the hiking boots that I'm currently wearing. These things are amazing. You know that horrible feeling when you're walking through snow and 5 minutes in, your socks are drenched, your feet are absolutely freezing for the rest of the day. These hiking boots prevent that. I had no water seepage whatsoever. If the Titanic had been made of this material, it would never have been lost in the pond. And as Americans would say, these boots are a game changer, because I do think that winter's long-time vendetta against my feet contributes about 39% toward my hatred of winter. So I've got to be honest, with that factor removed, I quite enjoyed today's walk. And furthermore, today I was saying to my wife, old-fashioned AF, there's something quite beautiful about walking on trails covered in snow, because firstly, there's no one around to ask for my autograph. You know, I mean, they don't ask for it at the best of times, but it's the principle that counts. And yet, even though at this time of year the Midwest resembles more Siberia than the United States, in parks like this, there is evidence of life all around you. You know, you might see the odd squirrel or a cardinal pop out to say hello, or you just look down at the trail itself, right? I mean, human footprints and dog piss. So, you know, to take that previous question and turn it around at myself, Lawrence, would you ever leave the Midwest? The answer, of course, is yes, but I think since getting the hiking boots, it's a bit less of a yes than it was yesterday. So, as an honorary Midwesterner, there you have it. I will be staying around for a bit. And it's been a long year, let's be honest, but one thing that I've learned in that time is that face masks scientifically do prevent your nose hairs from freezing, and that's very important. Thank you everybody for joining me on this winter tour of the Scandinavian province of Illinois. You'll see me in my next video.